What's up? Welcome back to more Nickmercs. Guys, in today's YouTube upload, we're reacting to all the guns they added in Call of Duty throughout the history of time. I know you guys are going to like this video. It's spicy, it's weird, it's a little bit different. If you do like the video, don't forget to like the video, man. And drop a comment down below. We want to know what you think is the most broken gun of all time. As always, guys, enjoy today's YouTube upload. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Peace and love, baby. All right, history of most broken guns.
We've seen the history of the Warzone meta, so let's take a look at the most broken guns along the way. These are the guns the devs messed up on. The guns that acted in a way that was not intended. Some of these guns only being available for mere days. With that in mind, you're not going to see things like the DMR or the Interceptor or just really meta-defining guns. Although they were very broken, they weren't necessarily game-breaking. Also, some of these guns didn't even make it to my history of the Warzone meta video because of how unorthodox they were. So welcome to the entire history of broken guns in Warzone. Right at launch, we had the snake shots, which we've talked about way too much on this channel, so I won't spend too much time here. You know the drill, they've been meta in every iteration of Warzone at some point or another. They always find a way to mess up the snake shot ammo to just be insane with the damage range. Somehow ends up always being better than any shotgun in the game, which is just wild. Add the fact that they're semi-automatic, akimbo, and have wild hipfire accuracy, and you've got one of the most broken guns we've ever seen in Warzone. Now, a season or two later comes a couple of patches, which always brings a handful of nerfs and buffs. One of which was the Famas, which was pretty much useless in Warzone up until this point. They decided to buff the damage range amongst some other things. However, within this buff, somehow the underbarrel shotgun, specifically for the Famas, got caught in the crossfire, no pun intended, and resulted in one of the craziest exploits we've ever seen in Warzone history. The attachment was a one-shot kill at a pretty considerable distance, which no other shotgun was capable of. The fire rate and the hip-fire accuracy was also really good on this. But I would say the craziest thing about this is that
thank you for the 5 gift. I love you, man. I appreciate you, bro. My
so you still had a fully functioning Famas for your mid-range engagements, which wasn't anything crazy, but was still pretty dang good. Then you had probably the Kar 98 as your secondary, and you were covered at all ranges. This was one of those things that did not last long at all and was a complete mistake. I
barely even used this thing, man.
Probably resulted in somebody getting fired. New season means new guns, and in season 6 we got the AS Val,
this is the one right here,
like an AR SMG hybrid type. But with that also brought a 10-round magazine that buffed the bullet penetration to infinity. Now with the Famas underbarrel shotgun, I kind of understand how that one makes it to life, since it's kind of like
this one's good, bro.
That nobody really uses, so maybe they just don't test it, and it was also a bug, it wasn't intended to happen, so people aren't really going to be looking for that. But with this, I absolutely have no idea how it made it to live.
How did it even make it to live?
Oh, a classic. A classic.
How?
When an attachment specifically says that it increases the bullet penetration, does that mean you should probably monitor by how much? I'm almost convinced this gun also got stronger the more walls you were shooting through. I'm not even joking. There were also some absolute sick troglodytes who would run this with an M4 underbarrel snapshot grenade launcher, which I didn't even know existed until—
What, this guy say Count Chocula?
Also, some absolute sick troglodytes who would run this with an M4.
What is he saying? What word is that?
Underbarrel snapshot grenade launcher, which I didn't even know existed until this point. And if you shot this underbarrel outside a building, it would ping everybody inside, and then you just switch to the AS Val and lace every single person with these. You were seriously never safe.
Is that like a geometry?
What I liked about how they handled the nerf was they got rid of the bullet penetration buff that still made it a really viable gun, which is always fun to see because it ended up being a pretty fun gun to use after.
Somebody went to college.
Also, a quick side note: while this gun existed during multiplayer, it was actually unplayable. Seriously felt like you were in a hacked lobby.
Why is he even saying that?
Laced through walls every time you respawn, especially if you were playing shipment. Seriously, just a wild time to be playing the game. Crazy thing about the SPR is that it also launched with Season 6, alongside the AS Val. That means everything I'm about to mention coexisted with everything I just talked about with the AS Val. Everyone loves a new sniper, so when the SPR dropped, everyone was pretty hyped. One shots to the head and has pretty quick mobility, which was looking to compete with the Kar 98, which everybody already loved. Well, let me tell you, this was a Kar 98 murderer. This had all the perks of the Kar 98, but the only difference was the damn thing was hitscan. For those that don't know what hitscan is, it's when the bullet of the gun is a laser and essentially it doesn't really exist in real time. Teleports across the entire map immediately, which means no bullet drop and no bullet time. When the gun's velocity is infinite and also one shots to the head, it causes a lot of imbalance and also rewards a lot of people who have no idea how to snipe. I mean, seriously, hitting 300+ meter snipes was just a
this is lit.
The game honestly kind of turned into CS there for a minute, since it was just all you had to do was aim for the head no matter how far away they were, which was just really
he's bitching, but I fuck with this shit.
I don't hate the idea of a hit scan sniper, but just make it not not one-shot. Kind of
No,
like Warzone 2.
yes.
That was the whole thing with Warzone 2.
One-shot,
They were
bro.
really easy to use. They just wouldn't one-shot, but whatever. And looking back at it, this may have been the most unstable state of the game when you think of this existing simultaneously with
rough.
the AS Val. There's also a theory that they purposely make the new guns bugged and broken so it like drives up the battle pass sales, but I don't know. But Season 6, you're looking really sus. Now, at this point, it's been about a year and some change since we've had anything game-breaking in Warzone at this time, aside from the DMR, of course. But this blissful period would come to an end once the Akimbo double-barrel shotguns would make an appearance in Warzone. These were pretty much the same as the snake shots, but the only difference is that they only hold 2 shots in each shotgun. They hit just as hard, if not harder, and were being completely abused since this was at the height of the Rebirth craze. And obviously, we know Rebirth is a very close-quarters map, so this is just what everybody was running, and it was just
this game is just so much better than the
first
one we
shot.
played
That's
out.
all it was. Not even about aim, really. You think only having 2 rounds would make it at least a little better if you were on the receiving end, but that didn't even matter since it took like 2 seconds to reload. Also, if there was an award for the ugliest looking gun on this list, this would for sure take the cake. I mean, I get that the scope helped with the range, but seriously, like, what the hell is this?
For sure.
For the remainder of Warzone 1's life cycle, there wouldn't be anything too game-breaking other than like all the ridiculous Vanguard guns being very easy to use. Which brings us to the launch of Warzone 2, where the Akimbo P890s were like the best close-range option in the entire game. If you haven't noticed by now, there's kind of a trend here with Akimbo and brokenness. I'm not sure how, but they can never get the Akimbo attachment right. In this instance, I'm pretty sure it was bugged to double the damage, but like double the damage per gun, so in theory it was quadrupling the damage in total. This resulted in you being able to one-shot anyone who was fully plated as long as you hit both shots in the head, which, mind you, that wasn't even possible for snipers at this point in the game, which was crazy. But even if you didn't hit a headshot, it still only took 2 shots, which was just like super broken. With a crazy rate of fire and also like insane hipfire accuracy, this was ruining endgames left and right. The amount of people who would run riot shield and just rush your building with confidence because all they had to do was just spam left and right trigger was so stupid. Thank goodness Resurgence wasn't in the game yet, because this would have been extremely annoying. Remember when I said at the launch of Warzone 2 there wasn't a sniper that could one-shot? Well, that was actually kind of a lie. The new Victus XMR at the time had a bug where if you put the explosive ammo, it could one-shot. Now, I don't really consider this broken at all, but I thought it was worth mentioning since technically it wasn't functioning how the developers wanted it to. Like, they were super duper anti-one-shot headshots. We can also sprinkle in the fact that a few months later, the incendiary ammo would also get bugged into allowing a one-shot with certain snipers, which again, I don't think is broken whatsoever, but definitely not what they had in mind. Also, for fun, let's go ahead and mention the St. Patrick's Day sniper. This was not a bug. This was fully intended. They added this for like a limited time mode, but this sniper one-shot no matter where you hit them. Head, foot, torso, it would one-shot down no matter what. After all these bugs, like towards the end of Warzone 2, they finally decided to make explosive ammo one-shot with as long as it was a bolt-action sniper rifle. Warzone 2 sniping was an absolute mess.
I love all the music.
Not much to say here other than snake shot ammo got bugged. I'm not really sure how this got brought back into the game. The only thing that was like extra sucky about this was Resurgence was in the game, so people were abusing this at an all-time high. At least with Warzone 1, we only had Verdansk, so there was like minimal situations where you could use them, but who the hell let this happen? Now we're just before the Warzone 3 launch, where they would add a Doom bundle, which was actually a pretty awesome blueprint that introduced like the dual trigger. The dual trigger would fire both shells at once and resulted in a one-shot down, but also like up to 15 meters. Of all the guns on this list, minus the one-shot sniper explosive ammo in Warzone 2, I think this is like the one I could tolerate the most. I don't really mind this shotgun being a one-shot since you had to reload between shots, so if you missed your first shot, you were probably gonna die. The only like really game-breaking aspect of it was the range was just super ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, it was still very annoying to die before you even realized you were being shot, so I'm definitely not
having a shotgun like this in the game.
I'm just saying if a shotgun's gonna one-shot, this is the way to do it. Pretty much swing for the fences. If you miss, you're gonna die. If you hit your shot, great. Now at the launch of Warzone 3, where all the patches, nerfs, and buffs, and like new guns being implemented resulted in the Lockwood getting reverted back to the one-shot crazy range that we were just talking about, and the tier pistol, which was Modern Warfare 3's revolver, had its snake shot ammo bug to one-shot at crazy ranges too. I mean, at this point, we're kind of just beating a dead horse, but I mean, no, it was just like super stupid. I have no idea how this makes it back to the game, especially when it was just in the game like last month. Even with all that had happened leading up to this, you think they would learn a thing or two about balancing shotguns. That obviously just doesn't seem like a priority to them. The only saving grace about this was that they were both vaulted out of the game entirely only a few days after launch, so it didn't last long whatsoever. However, I do think it's worth mentioning that in Season 1 Reloaded, they triggered
the gun bottom right, bro.
They said it was fixed, but it just wasn't. Literally the exact same gun that it was a month prior. I don't know
That
what
shit
they were
looks
doing
so
in the
stupid.
downtime. But obviously, this resulted in it being vaulted again, and now I don't even think it's in the game right now, if I'm being honest. But that is the entire history of broken guns in Warzone. Please let me know if I missed anything. Like I said, I kind of wanted to keep this like specifically to like bugs or.
Did he miss anything? Got that AS valve shooting through the. I mean, Doof. I'm surprised that's not on there. That was pretty game breaking. Origin, DMR. I don't know if that was game breaking though. The FAL is a sub. Yeah, I don't know if that was game breaking. The Renetti was definitely a big one too. All in all, pretty good video. I will say he sounds like he's hating to do that video.